Savannah Chrisley reveals truth in wrongful firing. Savannah is the daughter of Todd and Julie Chrisley. While known for her Chrisley Knows Best, she is also known for her podcast, Unlocked. Recently, Savannah was asked if she would use her podcast to shed some light on a recent story: her father losing his prison chaplain job. The Unlocked host shared her side of the story. Savannah has at times used her podcast, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley, to discuss what it was like appearing on the show and updates concerning stories about her family. Not only has her father Todd appeared on the show, Savannah has used it to update fans over the family's various legal issues. Recently, a story has come out about Savannah's father Todd losing his job assisting a prison chaplain. Naturally, Savannah had been asked the question, "Can you talk about on your podcast why they stopped your dad from working with the chap?" The Unlocked hostess shared the following statement: "My dad was fired from the chapel due to retaliatory actions taken by staff at FPC Pensacola, specifically Mandy Ramsey. He and other men overheard her verbally abusing residents in the drug and alcohol program." Some commenters claim Savannah Chrisley's comments can do more harm than good. His termination seems to be a direct response to the investigation into these abusive practices. This situation raises serious concerns about retaliation and the treatment of individuals who speak up against misconduct. On the Chrisley Knows Prison Reddit page, which shared Savannah's statement, many commenters were concerned with her sharing. Quite a few pointed out she could be doing more harm than good by making a statement. One user wrote she's just piling on the punishment for her dear daddy. Another felt it would impact Todd's future prison jobs. As they wrote, she just ruined any chance of her dad ever getting a cushy job on the inside. Another wrote that, "I get it, she loves her parents and wants them home, but what she's doing is just making it 1,000 times more harder for them. The golden rule: you don't speak on what goes on between them gates. And if you do, you get it to a person who no one in the system knows, so it can't come back on your loved ones." Todd's attorney, Jay Sargent, had also recently issued a statement over his client losing his prison chaplain job. Speaking with Today, he claimed there was no real reason given for Todd's termination. Beforehand, there was some speculation that Todd got into trouble for talking with inmates in the residential drug abuse program. Many of these inmates had access to the outside world. In a recent tell-all interview, Savannah Chrisley didn't hold back when revealing the story behind her shocking, and as she claims, wrongful firing from her popular podcast. The firing, she said, came out of nowhere and left her feeling blindsided and betrayed by the very network that had helped her build her brand. The story behind her exit, however, has layers. Layers she felt it was time the public finally got to see. According to Savannah, everything was running smoothly with her show, Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley. She loved the creativity, the way it brought her closer to her fans, and the opportunity to discuss subjects that mattered to her. She was deeply invested in the platform and felt a genuine connection with her listeners. But all that changed after she made a decision she believed was in her best interests and those of her audience, a decision that allegedly clashed with the network's vision for the show. One of the key points of contention: content freedom. Savannah's episodes often touched on raw and unfiltered discussions, ranging from family struggles to controversial social issues, and she didn't shy away from telling it like it is. Her honesty and authenticity won her many fans, but behind closed doors, it wasn't always welcomed by the powers that be. Savannah had heard whispers from network execs that they were nervous about her controversial episodes, but she brushed it off. After all, her audience loved her for her candor, and she was committed to staying true to herself. But according to her, this is exactly what started to drive a wedge between her and the network. "The first time I knew something was off was when they told me to take down an episode," Savannah revealed. The episode, she explained, involved her speaking candidly about mental health issues and the struggles she personally endured after her parents' legal issues became public. They didn't like how real I got. They wanted me to gloss over things, to keep things light and on brand, whatever that meant. But I wasn't willing to do that. The network, she alleges, was concerned that sharing too much could create a rift with sponsors who might view the topics as too dark or negative. But Savannah saw it differently. She believed her honesty was not only a therapeutic outlet for herself, but also a way to connect deeply with her audience, who often shared similar struggles. After refusing to take the episode down, tensions reportedly escalated. Savannah claims she was given warnings and told to stick to more digestible content. Yet despite the pressure, she didn't waver. To her, the entire point of Unlocked was to provide a platform for open, heartfelt discussions. The idea of censoring herself felt like a betrayal not only of her brand but of her audience. "I didn't start this podcast to please the suits," she said. "I did it to be real, to be raw, and to connect with people going through their own battles." What finally led to her firing, she says, was an episode in which she invited an independent journalist on the show to talk about media bias and public perception. Her guest, who had been outspoken in his criticism of certain media outlets and practices, was seen as too controversial by the network. Savannah remembers the meeting clearly. "They told me it was a bad look, that it could hurt our relationship with certain media partners. I said, but isn't that the point? To question things. I wasn't going to censor my guest just because his views were unpopular. I believed in what he had to say." After the episode aired, Savannah was told her show would be going on a temporary hiatus. She hoped that meant there would be discussions, a chance for some middle ground. But the temporary hiatus quickly turned into a more permanent decision. Just days after the episode aired, she received the call that her contract was being terminated. "They told me it was nothing personal, just business," Savannah recounted, her voice heavy with frustration. "But when you pour your heart and soul into something, it feels very personal." Savannah's story didn't end with her firing, though. Determined to tell her side of the story, she turned to social media, posting a cryptic message about truth and freedom. Fans immediately suspected something was wrong, and speculation started swirling online. Seeing the outpouring of support, Savannah decided to set the record straight. In an Instagram live session, she laid out her grievances, explaining how she felt stifled and ultimately pushed out for refusing to play by the rules. The response was overwhelming. Fans rallied behind her with hashtags like #JusticeForSavannah and #UncensoredUnlocked flooding social media. Many were shocked that someone known for her candor and transparency could face such severe repercussions for simply being herself. Others saw it as a cautionary tale about the pitfalls of the entertainment industry, where authenticity can often clash with corporate interests. But Savannah wasn't done yet. Within weeks of the announcement, she revealed her plans to launch a new independent version of Unlocked without the constraints of network oversight. "This time, I'm doing it my way. I'm funding it myself and calling the shots," she declared. Her new vision for the podcast, she says, will include even more unfiltered discussions, and she plans to bring on guests who can speak freely without fear of offending anyone's corporate agenda. "This experience has been eye-opening," Savannah admits, but she's ready to move forward. "It taught me a lot about loyalty and about standing up for what's right, even when it's tough." The wrongful firing was a blow, but Savannah sees it as the catalyst for a fresh start, one that aligns more closely with her values. The response from fans has only solidified her resolve to carry on independently. She's had overwhelming offers from fans and sponsors willing to back her new venture, and she's excited to dive back in with more control than ever. This isn't the end, she assured her audience in a recent Instagram post. It's just the beginning of a new chapter, one where I get to stay true to myself and my voice, no matter what. In the weeks since the announcement, her new project has already started to take shape, with Savannah teasing the upcoming launch date and hinting at a lineup of powerhouse guests who share her passion for truth and transparency. She may have been wrongfully fired, but Savannah Chrisley is ready to turn her setback into a comeback, one unfiltered episode at a time.